Welcome to Talk Tickers, the show that helps you cut through the noise and really understand what's happening in those crucial earnings calls.
That's right. We're diving deep into the numbers, but we're doing it in a way that makes sense, even if you don't live and breathe finance.
Exactly. Today, we're looking at SentinelOne, the cybersecurity company. They just had their Q4 2025 earnings call, and, well, there's a lot to unpack.
There is. We're talking big growth, hitting profitability milestones, and a really aggressive push into using AI for security.
So for those following along, should we start with a high-level snapshot of how they finished the year?
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start. So SentinelOne, they closed out their fiscal year 2025 with some serious momentum. They actually beat all their guidance, all the key metrics for Q4, and not just Q4, the full year as well.
Okay, so they're exceeding expectations. That's got to be good for investors, right?
Right. And they saw their net new ARR, that's annual recurring revenue. It's basically the yearly value of new subscriptions. That growth turned positive in the second half of the year.
So they were maybe struggling a bit before, and now they're back on track.
Yeah, you could say that. The first half of the year might have been a little shaky, but this turnaround shows their sales are picking up speed again.
Makes sense. And overall, how did the revenue look for the year?
They managed to achieve over 30% growth on their top-line revenue for the entire fiscal year.
Wow, 30%. That's pretty impressive.
It is, especially at their scale. Now, of course, growth is great, but what about profitability? That's what really matters in the long run.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So did they make any progress on that front?
They did. Their operating margin, it actually expanded by over 15 percentage points for the year, and that's huge. It shows they're moving towards sustainable, profitable growth, which is what investors want to see.
It's a good sign for sure.
Yeah.
And anything else standing out from their high-level results?
Yeah, so two things. First, they had a record number of new customers.
That's always a good thing. More customers, more revenue.
Exactly. And second, their newer platform solutions, they're really taking off. They now account for over 50% of all the bookings for the whole fiscal year.
Interesting. So it's not just their original products driving growth anymore. They're diversifying their offerings.
Yeah, and it seems to be working. Plus, in Q4, they actually hit positive operating income for the first time ever.
Okay, now that's a big deal, right? It means they're not just focused on growth at any cost anymore.
Right. It shows they can actually make money while they're growing.
Yeah, that's a big step towards long-term sustainability.
Definitely. And to add to that, fiscal year 2025, it was also their first full year of positive net income and earnings per share. And even the free cash flow turned positive for the full year.
Wow, so they're hitting all these profitability milestones now. That's a big shift from where they were maybe a year or two ago.
It is. They're really transforming their financial profile to be much more stable and attractive to investors.
So what's their outlook? What are they saying about the future?
They're projecting to hit over $1 billion, both in ARR and revenue, in the current fiscal year.
Bold predictions. Do you think they can pull it off?
Well, their recent performance definitely suggests it's possible. They're also forecasting full-year operating income profitability for this fiscal year as well.
Okay, so they're aiming high, but they seem to have the momentum to back it up.
Yeah, I'd say so.
All right, let's get into the details now. Q4. What were the key numbers that drove these impressive results?
Let's break it down. So in Q4 2025, their revenue, it landed at $226 million. That's a 29% jump compared to Q4 of last year.
29% growth year over year, that's significant. And it sounds like they beat their own expectations as well.
They did, and a big chunk of that growth actually came from their international markets. They grew a whopping 36% there, which is really strong.
So it's not just a U.S. story. They're finding success globally.
Exactly. And those international markets, they now represent 37% of their total revenue for the quarter.
Okay, so they're becoming a truly global player. Now, how about new business? What did their net new ARR look like in Q4?
Well, they added $60 million in net new ARR in Q4, which brought their total ARR to $920 million. That's a 27% year-over-year growth in ARR, which is pretty healthy.
Okay, so continuing to build that recurring revenue base, which is, of course, crucial for a subscription-based business like theirs.
Right. And remember how we talked about their net new ARR growth turning positive in the second half of the year?
Yeah, that was a key turnaround for them.
Right. Well, in Q4 specifically, their net new ARR was up by 2% compared to Q4 of last year. And that's a big improvement.
How big of an improvement are we talking about?
Well, it's a 12 percentage point jump compared to the first half of the year.
Wow. Okay, that's a serious acceleration. Something to keep an eye on for sure.
Definitely.
And how many customers are we talking about now? How many businesses are actually using the SentinelOne platform?
They now have over 14,000 direct customers.
14,000. That's a
Yeah.
lot of trust they've built.
It is. And their RPO, or remaining performance obligation, that's the value of future revenue from contracts they've already signed, it's also grown significantly. It's up 30% to a record $1.2 billion.
Okay, so that basically means they have a huge backlog of future revenue already locked in.
Exactly, which gives them more predictability and stability going forward.
Right, so not just growing, but doing it in a sustainable, predictable way.
That's the key takeaway here.
Now, are they attracting larger clients? You know, the ones that really move the needle?
They are. The number of customers who are spending $100,000 or more in ARR per year, that number's up by 25% year over year.
Okay, so more and more big companies are choosing SentinelOne.
Yeah, and they now have 1,411 of these high-value customers. And Q4, it actually saw the biggest net additions of these big spenders for the whole year.
Ah, so they're closing those big deals. That's got to be good news for their future growth.
Absolutely. And their dollar-based net retention rate, it's sitting at 110% for the full year.
So that means their existing customers are not just staying, they're actually spending more with SentinelOne.
Precisely. They're clearly doing something right to keep their customers happy and coming back for more.
Okay, so we've covered the impressive revenue numbers. Just to circle back, did they actually hit a positive operating margin in Q4?
They did. In Q4 2025, their operating margin turned positive, and it actually beat their previous guidance by over 400 basis points.
Okay, so even better than they expected. That's a huge win for them on the profitability front.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It shows they're serious about managing their costs and becoming a truly profitable business.
All right, so we've got a clear picture of the numbers. Now let's talk about the why. What's driving these positive results?
Well, one of the big things they emphasized was their transition from just focusing on endpoint security to becoming a full-blown AI-powered cybersecurity platform.
Okay, so they're not just protecting individual devices anymore. They're offering a broader, more integrated approach to security.
Exactly. And they were actually the first in the industry to bake in those foundational generative AI capabilities as a standard feature into all of their platform solutions.
Ah, so they're really pushing the boundaries with AI. And being first to market with something like that, that's a big deal.
It is. It can give them a real competitive advantage, especially as AI becomes more and more important in cybersecurity.
So what is it about their platform, this Singularity platform they keep talking about? What makes it so special?
Well, they highlight three main things. First, what they call unified defenses. It basically means their platform brings together data from all sorts of different sources. We're talking endpoints, cloud environments, identity systems, even third-party security tools.
So it's like a central hub for all your security data.
Exactly. And by connecting all that data, they can provide much broader and more interconnected protection. It's not just about individual pieces anymore.
Makes sense. And what's the second thing that makes their platform stand out?
They call it outpacing threats. And it basically comes down to using AI to automate a lot of the security processes. This helps them identify real threats faster with a lot fewer false alarms.
Ah, so reducing that noise that can overwhelm security teams?
Exactly. They're all about having a high signal-to-noise ratio.
Okay, and what's the third key differentiator?
They focus on how their AI, especially their generative and agentic AI, actually makes security analysts better at their jobs. It helps them be more efficient, more effective, and ultimately better at protecting their organizations.
So it's not about replacing humans, it's about empowering them with AI.
Right. They see AI as a tool to augment human capabilities, not replace them entirely.
Interesting. They also mentioned something about independent testing and these MITRE ATK and CK evaluations. What's that all about?
Yeah, so the MITRE ATT and CK evaluations, these are really important in the cybersecurity world. They're like independent tests that simulate real-world cyber attacks to see how well different security solutions actually perform.
Okay, so like a real-world stress test for cybersecurity products.
Exactly. And SentinelOne, their Singularity platform, it achieved 100% detection for the 5th year in a row.
Wow, 5 years straight. That's pretty impressive.
It is, and they didn't just detect everything, they did it with 0 detection delays, which is crucial in a real-world attack scenario.
So they're not just accurate, they're also fast.
Yeah, and to top it off, they generated 88% fewer alerts compared to their competitors in the latest evaluation. They even said some competitors produced thousands of times more alerts for the same attack scenarios.
Thousands of times more alerts. That's a massive difference.
It is, and it speaks volumes about the precision and efficiency of their AI-powered approach. Fewer false alarms means security teams can focus on the real threats, which is a huge advantage.
Absolutely. And these strong results in independent testing, they've got to be a big selling point for SentinelOne, right?
Oh, definitely. It gives potential customers a lot of confidence that their technology actually works and that it can really protect them from those sophisticated attacks.
All right, so their platform sounds pretty impressive, but are customers actually buying into this whole platform approach? Are they using more than just one of their solutions?
They are. They're seeing really strong momentum in what they call multi-solution adoption. Over the past couple of years, they've tripled the number of customers using 3 or more of their core solution categories.
Okay, so companies are increasingly choosing multiple SentinelOne products to protect themselves. That's a good sign for their platform strategy.
It is, and they've quadrupled the number of customers using 4 or more solutions. That's a huge jump.
Wow, so their strategy of building this integrated platform, it seems to be resonating with their customers.
Yeah, and when you look at the numbers, about 40% of their enterprise customers are now using 3 or more platform solutions.
Okay, so a significant portion of their larger customers are really buying into the platform.
Exactly, and about 20% are using 4 or more solutions.
Wow, so they're not just dipping their toes in, they're going all in with SentinelOne.
Yeah, it seems like once companies start using one of their solutions, they quickly see the value in adding more and more and getting that integrated protection across their entire organization.
Makes sense. Now, what's driving this increased adoption of multiple solutions? What are the specific areas where they're seeing the most growth?
Well, in fiscal year 2025, over half of their bookings came from their endpoint security solutions. That's their bread and butter. And they're still going strong there.
Right, so their core business is still performing well.
Absolutely. But they're also seeing a lot of growth in their newer offerings, especially in data, cloud, and AI security. In fact, Q4 was a record quarter for bookings from those solutions.
Interesting. So while their traditional endpoint security is still a big part of their business, these newer areas are becoming increasingly important.
Exactly. It's a sign that they're successfully expanding their reach and offering solutions that address the evolving security needs of their customers.
And which of these newer solutions is performing the best?
Their data and AI solutions are seeing the fastest growth, particularly their Singularity AI SIEM product.
Okay, so they're really making a name for themselves in the AI security space.
They are. It's a hot market right now, and they're clearly capitalizing on it.
Now, it's one thing to talk about platform adoption and growth in general, but can you give us some concrete examples of big customer wins that they highlighted?
Yeah, they mentioned a few really impressive wins. One was an 8-figure deal in the Asia-Pacific region.
8 figures, that's a serious deal. What was that all about?
So this customer, they were already using SentinelOne for endpoint security, but they decided to expand their relationship significantly. They added cloud security with CNAPP, and they completely replaced their old SIEM system with SentinelOne's AI SIEM.
Wow, so they went all in on the SentinelOne platform.
They did. It was a huge platform-level win for SentinelOne and really shows the power of their integrated offerings.
And replacing a legacy SIEM system, that's not a small decision for any company. It shows a lot of trust in SentinelOne's capabilities.
Absolutely. It's a big undertaking to switch security systems, especially something as critical as a SIEM.
Any other notable customer wins?
Yeah, they talked about a leading financial institution that completely switched from Splunk to their AI SIEM.
Splunk, that's a big name in security. So for SentinelOne to win them over, that says a lot.
It does. And for this customer, the main drivers were cost savings and improved performance.
So SentinelOne is offering a more efficient and cost-effective solution.
Exactly. And this deal was worth multiple millions of dollars. And it also led to the customer increasing their overall spending with SentinelOne.
Okay, so another big win. And it shows how SentinelOne can not only win new customers, but also expand relationships with existing ones.
Right. It's about building those long-term partnerships.
Any other examples?
Yeah, they also mentioned a major retailer that chose their AI SIEM to replace their existing security vendor.
Okay, so another replacement deal. That's a trend we're seeing here.
It is. And for this retailer, the key benefits were projected savings of over $1 million per year and a much faster incident response time. We're talking up to 12 hours faster.
Wow, 12 hours can make a huge difference when you're dealing with a security breach.
Absolutely. The faster you can respond, the less damage the attackers can do.
And it seems like SentinelOne is really delivering on that speed and efficiency.
They are. And they also mentioned a Fortune 100 airline that chose SentinelOne to replace a leading competitor.
Okay, so they're winning deals across different industries, including some very high-profile ones.
Yeah, they're making serious inroads in the enterprise market, and these customer wins are a testament to their growing reputation and the strength of their platform.
All right, so we've talked about their direct sales efforts, but what about their partner ecosystem? How are partners contributing to their growth?
Their partnerships are becoming increasingly important. They're seeing a lot of interest from managed security service providers or MSSPs, incident response firms, and even insurance providers.
So a diverse range of partners. That's good for expanding their reach.
It is. And they highlighted that in Q4 alone, over a dozen large partners started using their AI SIEM, Purple AI, and CNAPP solutions.
Okay, so partners are not just reselling their products, they're actually incorporating them into their own service offerings.
Exactly. And they specifically mentioned that MSSPs are getting more serious about their relationship with SentinelOne. They're signing longer-term contracts and embracing more of the platform.
That's a good sign. It shows that partners are seeing the value in building a deeper, more strategic partnership with SentinelOne.
For sure. And this growing partner ecosystem is going to be crucial for SentinelOne as they continue to scale and expand their reach.
Now let's dive into some of the specific solutions they talked about, starting with Purple AI. What are the key updates there?
They announced that Purple AI now includes those foundational generative AI capabilities by default across the entire platform.
Okay, so generative AI is now a core part of their offering, not just an add-on.
Exactly. And this means customers can now use natural language to query their security data and get automatically generated summaries of incidents and findings.
So it's making the platform more intuitive and user-friendly.
Yeah, it's all about making security data more accessible and actionable.
And they've also expanded Purple AI's integration capabilities.
Right. It now integrates with third-party security solutions like Zscaler, Okta, and Palo Alto networks.
So they're breaking down those data silos and giving customers a more holistic view of their security posture.
Exactly. It's not just about seeing what's happening within the SentinelOne platform. It's about getting a complete picture of their entire security environment.
Makes sense. And what about cloud security? That seems to be a big focus area for them as well.
It is. They're seeing a lot of traction with their cloud workload security and CNAPP offerings. They even closed their biggest CNAPP deal since they acquired PingSafe.
Okay, so they're making moves in the cloud security space.
Yep.
And it seems like the industry is taking notice.
They are. They were named a 2024 Gartner Peer Insights Customer Choice for CNAPP, and they got the most positive customer responses in that category.
So customers are happy with their cloud security offerings.
Yeah. And they also received the award for the Best Overall Cloud and Application Security Offering in CRN's 2024 Product of the Year Awards.
Wow, so they're racking up the accolades.
They are. They're clearly becoming a force to be reckoned with in the cloud security market.
Okay, so they're executing well across multiple segments. Now, what's their take on the broader market and where they see things heading?
Well, they acknowledge that AI is having a huge impact on technology decisions across the board, and they see AI native data and security solutions as the future.
So they're doubling down on their AI strategy.
Yeah, they're all in on AI, and they're positioning themselves as leaders in this space.
Makes sense. But they're also aware of the current economic and political climate, right?
Oh, yeah. They know that budgets are tight and that there's a lot of uncertainty out there. So they're approaching things cautiously, but they're still optimistic about the long-term growth potential.
All right, so how does all of this translate into their financial outlook for fiscal year 2026? What are they projecting?
For fiscal year 2026, they're projecting revenue to be between $1.07 billion and $1.12 billion.
Okay, so a healthy growth rate of 23%.
Exactly. And they're expecting to add around $200 million in net new ARR throughout the year, which is about 2% year-over-year growth.
Okay, but they did mention retiring their legacy deception solution, right?
Yeah, they're sunsetting that product, and they expect that to result in about $10 million of churn in fiscal year 2026.
So if you factor that out, their net new ARR growth would actually be higher.
Exactly. They said it would be in the mid to high single-digit percentage range.
Okay, so they're still expecting solid growth even after accounting for that churn.
Yeah, they see this as a strategic move, reallocating resources away from a legacy product and focusing on their core AI-powered solutions.
Makes sense. It's about prioritizing those areas with the highest growth potential.
Exactly. They're streamlining their portfolio and betting big on AI.
Now, what about profitability? What's their outlook on margins for the coming year?
They expect to maintain their strong gross margins. They're projecting around 79% for Q1 of fiscal 2026 and between 78.5% and 79.5% for the full year.
Okay, so continuing to be a high margin business.
Yeah, their gross margins are really impressive. And for operating margin, they're projecting about -2% for Q1, which is a big improvement compared to last year.
So they're still not quite profitable on an operating basis in Q1, but they're getting closer.
They are. And for the full year, they're actually projecting a positive operating margin between 3% and 4%.
Okay, so they're expecting to be profitable on an operating basis for the full year 2026. That's a big milestone.
It is. It shows their commitment to profitable growth and their confidence in their ability to manage costs effectively.
And what about cash flow?
They're expecting their full year free cash flow margin to be several percentage points higher than their operating margin, which means they'll be generating even more cash.
Okay, so a healthy cash flow outlook as well.
Yeah, they're in a good financial position overall.
Now, they also briefly mentioned a shift towards more flexible pricing. What's that all about?
They're moving towards more flexible pricing models for their platform, mainly because their platform has grown so much in terms of breadth and capabilities. They want to give customers more tailored access to a wider range of their solutions.
So it's about giving customers more choices and finding the right fit for their specific needs.
Exactly. It's a smart move as they continue to expand their platform and offer more and more solutions.
All right, that was a deep dive into SentinelOne's Q4 2025 earnings. Strong growth, hitting profitability milestones, and a clear focus on AI. Now it's time for our This Is Not Financial Advice segment, where we throw out some outrageous, but maybe plausible trade ideas.
All right, so let's get speculative here. SentinelOne, they're going all in on AI, right?
Yeah, it's their big bet for the future.
Right. They're talking about AI deals constantly, integrating purple AI everywhere, and they're even getting rid of older products to focus on AI-powered solutions.
So where's the trade idea?
How about a pairs trade? Go long on SentinelOne, betting on their AI story, and that they'll win market share in the next generation of cybersecurity. At the same time, go short on a legacy cybersecurity company, one that's stuck in the past with old technology and slow growth.
Okay, so bet on the innovator and against the dinosaur.
Basically. The idea is that the market will reward companies like SentinelOne that are all about AI and platform approaches and punish those who are lagging behind.
Interesting. So you're basically betting on a shift in the entire cybersecurity landscape.
Yeah, that's the gamble. But remember, this is just a thought experiment. Do your own research before making any trades.
Absolutely. This is not financial advice, folks. Always do your due diligence. So that wraps up our look at SentinelOne. They had a great year hitting those profitability goals and really pushing the boundaries with AI. And their decision to retire those legacy products and focus on platform adoption, that's a clear sign of where they're headed.
What do you think about their AI strategy and this whole shift in the cybersecurity world? Let us know your thoughts. We're always looking for new ideas and companies to dive into.
Exactly. Keep the conversation going. And remember, we're here to help you make sense of it all.
That's Talk Tickers, your shortcut to understanding earnings calls. Until next time.
See you then.